Hi guys, welcome to the 14th episode of the One Car Junkyard. My name is Joe, and I want to personally thank everybody for subscribing to our channel. We're getting some new stuff in here. We took a little break for a while, but got some pretty cool episodes coming up. So I really hope you enjoy it. So what we got today here is a 1975 Ford F-250 Dent side Highboy. And for people who don't know what the Dent side and the Highboy mean, I'll explain it to you. Let's take a look. This would be the ultimate work truck in the mid-70s. F-250, 3/4 ton, stick transmission, V8 engine, bare bones, no air conditioning. It has the power steering system on it, which is the famous power steering control valve assisted, terrible system, but it is what it is. So this was dug out of a garage right down the street. One of our subscribers contacted us and said, you guys might be interested in this, so take a look. That's exactly what we did. We dug it out of a garage, and it's a project truck. As you can see, there is a gaping hole where the motor should be, but the motor's in the back of the bed. So we'll take a look at that. What is a Highboy? Well, a Highboy is an F-250. It wasn't the F-100, it was the F-250. They sat a little high there, and they were four-wheel drive. And as we come around, so you can see it's got big old leaf springs and a big old, that's a Dana front differential, I'm relatively sure. Then it's got these big locking hubs, big old eight lug wheels, and super heavy duty. I mean, this thing, you'll pee blood after driving around this thing. This truck was made the year I graduated from high school 50 years ago, believe it or not. You know, there's all these horror stories about certain vehicles like the Pinto and whatnot. Well, the F-250 F-Series Fords have their own little horror stories, and this was the horror story. If you had a full tank of fuel in this thing, this is called the cab tank. If you flipped it over on the side, the fuel would run out. And if this thing was grinding on the asphalt and it was emptying fuel, this would be like striking a match on a matchbox. You could, burn yourself to the crisp. And that was like one of the safety recalls that Ford had back in the day. Okay, so let's see, why do they call this a Dent side? Well, guys come up with their own definitions of stuff. Car guys, they like to fight over definitions. But this is called a Dent side because the bed and the door and the fender have a dent in them. And that's from 73 to 79. The 67 to 72 is the bump side where it comes out like that. So you Ford guys will know that. Got a little Wango there. The truck is, full of parts, and we'll get those out in a minute. I did a little VIN deciphering. This truck was born here in California. They had an assembly plant up in San Jose, and so they built it up there. The color's called medium ginger. When I was a kid, we called these root beer brown, but the color is medium ginger, and it's an F-250 custom, so that is a bare bones truck. This truck has power steering, but it does not have air conditioning. So this would be like a total work truck. So let's take a look inside. Well, unfortunately, we have a little bit of rust. That's kind of to be expected because these trucks had like a solid rubber mat that had a little bit of like batting in between there, and that would collect moisture, and they would rust. So we got some rust issues here. It's not too bad, but there's some perforations in there. And what's really amazing is I've had probably 3 or 4 of these trucks. These door panels are not cracked, and I'm sure they make reproductions, but these are in incredibly good shape. Now, this is a really cool option for back in the day. See that? That's what you call a cup holder right there. See it? Right there? Little indentation in the glove box door. So, when you go to the drive-in, you could put your cup of coffee there or whatever. So we got a little bit of provenance here. Here's the owner's manual. Tells you how to do basic things, how to jack it up. Oh, look at this guy. He played the lotto. And when was this? I can't figure it out, but it's been a while. California Lotto. Big sponsors of the California school system, so I won't talk any more about that. And the more I look at this truck, this looks like this truck had a camper shell on it, okay? Because the inside of the bed is in remarkably good shape. And another thing about this, these mirrors are really hard to come by, and they're really straight. Looks like it's got stainless steel fasteners and everything, but these are like trailer mirrors, so you can tow something and, you know, see around the back of the truck. Okay guys, when I'm looking at this truck, I don't see any lifting blocks between the leaf springs and the front differential, so that looks like stock height. But if you come back here to the back, you will see it looks like it's maybe about a 3 to 4 inch lifting block back there. So I'm not sure if that's stock or not, but it's you know, these things were built to tow things, trailers and whatnot, so that might be stock. Okay, and we got a little auxiliary fuel tank plug. So if you want to put an auxiliary fuel tank in it, you could use this as the access point. You know, it's like a dummy plug. So let's look inside on the driver's side here. I'm noticing a lot of kind of cool things, like here's some of the fasteners for whatever reason. But I mean, there's a little surface rust, but this side of the truck is the floor pan's really good shape. It's got a new selector valve for the fuel tanks. See, these had and I see them in the back of the truck, there's a couple of saddle tanks. So you got the main tank, and then we got the saddle tank, so that's the selector switch. I used to run one of these things as a tow truck, and you could put damn near 70 gallons worth of fuel on this thing. I'm thinking that since this thing had a camper shell on it, was probably like a, you know, old guy, because that's the original upholstery, and it's just barely starting to split. Okay, and this is after 50 years, so I mean, Ford did a good job as far as you know, having upholstery that lasted for a while. And it shows 23,000 on it, so I'm sure that's 123. But this might even be a new windshield too. It's got all the proper VIN tag is there. And the other thing is it looked like there was a gasket between a camper shell and the cab. You remember the shell and the bed, you know, they articulate, so you got to have like a flexible gasket, so it moves with the flexing of the truck. This guy put a new rubber gasket on there with a tinted back glass. If Ford had a weak link in this truck, it was the power steering, because they had these power steering valves. They had all the power steering lines. They had a pump, and then they had the actual steering gearbox. So it was a really complicated system that was really prone to leaking. I don't think I've ever seen one that didn't leak. And so there's guys that do a conversion where they get away with that, and they just use like some sort of General Motors power steering gearbox. I know there's some guys in Phoenix that do that. This is a standard transmission truck, so it's a 4-speed. I guess it's got a granny gear in it in reverse, and it's 4-wheel drive. Remember back in the day, if you wanted to go 4-wheel drive, you had to you know, put the vehicle in neutral, get the transfer case in neutral, go out, lock the hubs, figure out if you're going to go 4 high, 4 low, engage the transfer case, and then take off. I mean, this thing could really climb. I'm sure this thing could climb a 45-degree hill, no problem. The guy had a lot of parts and whatnot in the back of it. We'll pull those out, just like we did with the Chevy and the Bug, if you guys remember those episodes, and we'll see what's in the box. Some pretty interesting things, especially this motor. Now, this is the motor. It looks like that at some point will be installed back into the truck. It looks rebuilt to me. I mean, it's got a new carburetor on it. A lot of attention to detail. Looks like it's got a brand new, I think that's a Motorcraft 2-barrel, because this is a 360 with a 2-barrel Motorcraft. But as I walk around it, I mean, man, somebody put some love into this engine. I mean, it is absolutely all here. I mean, right down to the smog shields and proper belt. Look at the fuel pump that has its own. I always thought that was cool. That's a fuel filter in the fuel pump. I mean, this thing is absolutely ready to put in the hole. Got the throwout bearing. Looks like a new clutch. Look at the attention to detail. These little rubber, you know, boots between the flywheel housing and the throwout arm. And the reason why it's blue is because it's Ford blue. And got the proper exhaust manifolds. Looks Look at the washers, new starter. Just looks good. Okay guys, so I'm seeing some real evidence that this was a camper shell truck, or it had a camper on it. I'll show you something right here. I actually just noticed it. Here is a drain for the sink or a refrigerator or something. So that would drain out of the camper into that, excess water out onto the floor. But look at the look at the floor of this bed. It's it's got a little paint chipping here, but yeah, this was never used as a work truck. And look at the tailgate. I mean, it's 50 years old and it's still kind of shiny. So, and the other thing is the wheel well humps aren't all batched in, because people would like throw bricks and stuff here and cave them in. There's no dents in them, so this is a solid truck. Okay, so let's look over here. I don't know what this guy paid for this radiator, but this is a brand new 4-row radiator, and it's copper. It looks like he was anticipating installing a new radiator with a fresh engine, which is always a smart thing to do. You don't want to burn up a perfectly new engine with bad cooling system. And he's got the push bumper. Those are really big in the 70s. You know, you could, a lot of these guys could hit a deer or a cow or something. It wouldn't cause that much damage. And we got a couple of saddle tanks. Yeah, this thing could carry a bunch of fuel. Looks like these would have to be hot tanked or whatever to clean them up. And you guys know that hot tanking is where you'll take them to a radiator shop, and they've got a special hot tank where they drop the whole thing and they kind of boil it in this caustic concoction that cleans all the rust and the paint and whatnot, and then you can seal them and have a nice fuel tank. So those were on either side in front of the wheel well. Those are aftermarket, but a lot of guys use those. What else we got here? We got the fan shroud for the radiator, and we only have 2 hubcaps, and one of them has a hole in the middle because it goes over the locking hub. And we got some Steely wheels. When we were in the junkyard, we used to call them Steely wheelies. So since this is a base model truck, you know, a custom, it just had steel wheels and hubcaps. I'm a big fan of steel wheels. You know, I just like how utilitarian they look. Anyway, so you got a set of 4 there. I guess the guy's gonna replace the mismatched ones that are on the truck right now. We got the sill plates and the wipers. What do you get a kick out of stuff that's this old? I mean, everything is such high quality, you know, stainless steel, built to last. And we got the aluminum sill plates. Those go on the doors. And we got a mirror that doesn't look in too good shape. And we got, I think that's a Fey bumper, F-E-Y. I think they made these in California. But I mean, that's a bumper. I mean, you rear end that thing in your 2025 Corolla, and the truck will win. So guys, I'm digging through a bin here in the bed of the truck, a few goodies. But one thing that I found is really next to impossible to find is a battery tray that's not rusted out. Okay, these had kind of a thin gauge metal, and you put the battery in here, and the acid would ultimately rust them out. But this looks like it's OEM, and this is kind of a cool find. So let's take a look at the transmission in this thing. Okay guys, so we got the front end of the truck lifted up a little, but I want to show you something. This thing has a 4-speed transmission manual. The first gear is going to be a granny. The transfer case is a 2 high, 4 high, and 4 low transfer case. The transfer case is going to be a new process, I'm pretty sure. And the transmission is going to be a Borg Warner, really bulletproof transmissions. What guys love about these old trucks is it's got what's called a Siamese transfer case, where the transfer case is not bolted to the transmission. There's a drive shaft between the transmission and the transfer case, and then from the transfer case out to the rear differential. And on a side profile with these trucks, it looks really cool because the transfer case is hanging out of the middle of the truck, and then there's drive shafts kind of going out at an angle from the middle of the truck. So you guys really like that. To me, I think it really looks badass. It just looks so American. Okay, looks like the guy put a new set of shocks on this thing. That's cool. Okay guys, another cool thing about this truck that have stuck with it because it's been, you know, stored for so long, and worked on for so long is it still has the original 70s blue and yellow California plates. That's pretty cool. You don't see them. And if somebody was to put this back on the road, they would definitely, and I'm sure somebody will put it back on the road, they would definitely keep these plates. Okay guys, so if you're anywhere near my age, and I already gave that up, if you were to have one of these trucks back in the day, there's something really cool about them. Number one, it's got a bench seat. So as you're driving down the road, you could have your girlfriend or whatever, your wife, sitting right next to you. You could have what we call the Easy Rider rifle rack that you put in the back of your window, and you could put 3 rifles. Believe it or not, people used to do that. And of course, last but not least, you would have the plastic Jesus on the dash, okay? And that would be like a time capsule of 50 years ago driving this truck. Okay guys, hey, thanks for watching episode 14 of the One Car Junkyard, featuring this really cool, rock solid F-250 Highboy, born and raised in California, and it's retired out here in California. And this truck has darn near most everything you need to put it back on the road, all the important stuff. Of course, you're going to need some knickknacks, but you could be going down the road in this truck really, relatively easy. If you're interested in this truck, comment below and we will get in touch. Please make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching, guys.